Unholy Heights was originally released in 2013. It was an interesting combination of tower defense and apartment complex simulator, and now it's made its way over to the PlayStation 4. But is this interesting concept a game that goes to all new heights, or is it like a bad tenant that needs to be evicted? Unholy Heights has you controlling, well, the devil. A very interesting looking version of the devil, and you are the manager of an apartment complex, starting off with just 4 very run-down apartments. Monsters all over the underworld are looking for a place to stay, and your goal is to attract them, to get them to stay in your apartment, earn rent from them, and actually use them to defend your apartment from various adventurers who are trying to take your gold. To attract the demons and keep them satisfied once they're living with you, you're gonna have to make sure you have some pretty nice amenities. Each demon type is different from one another. Some like it hot, some like it cold. You're also gonna have to improve things such as the bed and bathroom. And then there's a whole bunch of random accessories. Things like activities like playing cards or mini gardens, statues, and even one-time use items like health items that will restore, of course, health, as well as even stuff like love balloons to attract a maid, and even some stuff to spice up the bedroom for these demons. Because yes, you can actually get demons to marry, have kids, and have even more tenants inside of your apartment. The game works on a day cycle. After 1 day is complete, you will gather the rent. You can set the rent to various different amounts, depending upon the type of utilities that you currently have in that apartment. Having worse stuff means you can't charge quite as much rent, unfortunately. And charging too much rent for certain tenants will of course cause them to get angry and end up storming out on you. You can also decrease it at any point if you want that satisfactory rating to go up a little bit quicker. There's unfortunately also plenty of tenants that end up running out of money for one reason or another, and you may have to either lower the rent so that they can eventually catch back up and get out of debt, or you can just decide at any point to evict the little guys. During the course of the day, every one of the monsters has their own kind of routine. They'll go to work, they'll come home, mess around, watch TV, listen to the radio, or work out or read depending upon the stuff that's in their apartment. You can set up a nice little home gym so that they will work on their strength, or if you want to increase their intelligence, you can put books in there for them to study and learn. They're also going to do plenty of things like goof off, and just some of the things you can look at them and see what they're doing currently at the time ended up making me chuckle on more than one occasion. And the same goes for the various occupations that the demons can end up having. While it really doesn't change anything other than a line of text, some things such as seeing a demon be a professional mascot for a team, or being a professional gamer, yes, monsters can apparently be professional gamers as well, are just some of the various little things about the game that ended up making me enjoy it even more. Other random events include, of course, the marriage and them having kids, as well as you're gonna get a warning, usually at least once or twice a day, where random adventurers are gonna try to take your apartment building. At this point, you can summon the random demons from their apartment buildings by knocking on their door. Of course, they're gonna have to be home, in which case they'll then charge in the battle. Each demon is a different style of attacker. You have close, mid-range, and long-range attacks, so you're gonna wanna make sure you set them up accordingly. While one monster is in close range and engaged with certain enemies, you're not going to be able to sneak another one in there. You're going to have to tell one to withdraw so other ones can get close. It's a little bit clunky at first, but once you kind of get the hang of it and figure out which range each of the creatures are, you can usually get the best strategies together rather quickly in order to launch them into battle. Speaking of battles though, there's also the quest, which is where a majority of the money that you're going to be earning ends up coming from. These quests usually amount to either 1, 2, 3, or 4 sets of random people that are going to try to attack your apartment building. This includes sometimes special characters and bosses. Also stuff like merchants and other demons will end up attacking, in which case once you defeat these certain quest lines, you usually end up getting rewarded with not only money, but sometimes new furniture to add to the apartments, as well as new monster types that will be looking for apartments to rent. While you start off with only 4 apartment buildings in pretty rough and run-down shape, slowly as you're earning rent and completing quests, you'll be able to upgrade the apartments to look a little bit nicer from the inside at least. But in order to increase the actual overall look of your apartment, as well as add more apartments to it, you will have to upgrade it. Completing certain quests will allow you to thus upgrade and construct on your building to make it bigger, nicer, and add more floors so you can have even more tenants. Doing so is kind of like the increase from levels. By doing so, you're going to unlock even harder quests, and harder adventurers are going to start coming and trying to take the money away from you. If you're someone who doesn't really like micromanaging or even the concept of a tower defense, even though it's very light tower defense in many regards, there are much more hardcore tower defense games out there, of course, but if that doesn't interest you at all, you're not going to like Unholy Heights, that is for sure. But if you're someone who likes to invest that time and can just get lost in hours worth of gameplay, micromanaging, and upgrading various things, you're going to have a lot of fun and can put a lot of time into the game. In fact, this is the kind of game that I can jump into, spend hours with, and then look at the clock and wonder, hey, where'd all that time go? If you're a veteran, though, of Unholy Heights and enjoyed it from the past, you're definitely going to still enjoy that gameplay here, though there hasn't been too many additions, but there are a few minor things that makes this version a bit different from others. Some of those changes include the upgrade to 1080, as well as some changes to the UI, which does actually work pretty well. Getting between the various monsters, being able to switch quickly between apartments, buildings, all ends up working well. There's also a few little other things, such as a sound test and bestiary being available from the main menu, lots of different saves now being available, which weren't seen necessarily in certain other console releases for Unholy Heights, and there's also now the small ability to be able to name creatures that are born in your apartment building. Just adds that nice little touch. You can change a various werewolf or other demon into something that you personally think is funny or you think is a cool name, and just adds that little bit of extra attachment to certain demons in the building. Through the course of my gameplay, I didn't run into any crashing, slowdown, or glitching of really any sort. The soundtrack I definitely enjoy for what is there, though there are of course a lot of tracks that you're going to be hearing multiple times as the days go by, so long play sessions, maybe they can get a little bit grindy, but overall I actually did enjoy them. They weren't super annoying. I definitely didn't have to mute my TV or anything like that. Playing Unholy Heights now for the first time, I'm honestly disappointed with myself that I hadn't checked out the game sooner. This is exactly the kind of micromanaging style of game that I really do end up enjoying it. Yes, there could be a little bit more depth to the game overall, there could be a little bit more variety, but I had a lot of fun. It reminds me of the Final Fantasy, Crystal Chronicles, My Life as a King, and Dark Lord games that came out years ago, which I just became obsessed with once those games had first come out. Overall, I really enjoy Unholy Heights, and I recommend it to people that like those style of games. In the end, I'm going to be giving the game an 8 out of 10. But anyway guys, that's going to wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course I hope you enjoy.